G'day gorgeous, and welcome to the podcast that's dedicated to turning entrepreneurial women into a millionairess from the inside out, enriching lives for generations to come. This week's podcast, another awesome topic: how to turn the fear of selling into soulful serving. This is a question from one of our ladies, Kathy. Hi Amanda, I know more than ever I need to up my game getting my product out into the marketplace. I've heard you suggest I need to be very comfortable with selling myself and my product. I believe my product is of great value and very high standard. However, I still have trouble asking for the dollars I know it's worth, especially when competitors are appearing cheaper in the market. You always talk about soulful selling. Can you please explain what you mean? Listeners, today this is going to be another powerful and right to the heart podcast, as I believe this topic affects every entrepreneur in the marketplace. The G'day Gorgeous podcast is where you're going to get real, raw and relatable stories, guidance, proven formulas that can help you overcome your frustrations and live a life that you truly love and deserve every day. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson, Editor-in-Chief of Millionairess magazine. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, entrepreneur, and a Millionairess mentor. And of course, if you love the idea of being a Millionairess too, and why wouldn't you, pop over and visit us at gdaygorgeous.com or click the link in the notes below, GDAY, G'day Gorgeous. And of course, be sure to have your journal and a nice cuppa ready, because I am going to serve up gold. Let's get into the heart of the question. Good morning, gorgeous butterflies, and welcome to today's podcast. If you're brand new, welcome to the podcast that empowers women for life and enriches lives for generations to come. I have a great podcast lined up, ladies. And I've also been on a call this morning with a lovely lady in America, interviewing her for Millionairess magazine. So lots of good stuff happening there to share with you soon. See, I was interviewing a lovely lady, Dr. Erin, the Doctor of Divinity, who has an amazing TV show called La La Land in America, and teaches people how to find their purpose and meaning in life. So that was a fabulous interview for Millionairess magazine coming up. Great to see you here. So the podcast today is how to turn the fear of selling into soulful serving. And this question has come up more than once. It's not the first time I've talked about soulful selling. However, I think it is such an important topic to cover, especially for entrepreneurial women. If you want to be a millionairess from the inside out, what do I mean? Well, I always say that we are already a millionairess on the inside, depending on our values. And we show our gifts and our talents based on what is most important for us. However, every entrepreneur that I've ever met, and so many millions and millions of people, want the money in the bank. They want the millions on the outside as well as on the inside, the money to show up. And yet the truth is, less than 1% of people ever become financially independent. And, you know, I'm on a mission with Robin by my side at the helm of Millionairess here to change that number. We want more women to realize their birthright of having the money in the bank. Because why is money so important? Because money does change things. You cannot help other people if you cannot help yourself. You cannot have an amazing life if you are constantly worried, sick on the inside, which then causes disease, about lack of money and worrying about the money not coming in, or running out of money before the end of the month comes. And these things are so important. And that's why I do talk about money a lot, because it's not money's not the root of all evil. It's how your perceptions are around money, what your conditioning is, your subconscious mind, and the way you think and feel about money that matters most. And where am I going with this? What has this got to do with soulful selling and soulful serving? It's got to do with everything, because I say that if you want to have money in the bank, you want to create wealth and abundance and prosperity, to have the lifestyle of your dreams, or to go out there and serve more people, then if you don't want to have a business that serves vast amounts of people, you've got to ask yourself, where is that money going to come from? And it's changing our thinking from feeling weird about selling something to understanding that spirituality and money are one in the same thing. And if we change our thinking to service rather than selling, then the money comes to us faster and easier, because what energy we put out, we attract back. We are just a mirror of our business. We are the business. And that's why I always say continually that success is an 80-20 rule. And I call that the Millionairess new rule. 80% inside job, which is your mindset, your attitude, your thinking, your words, your belief system, is 80% of all the invisible stuff that we can't see under the water. And then 20% is the skill. What skill is that? Skill comes down to strategy and tactic. They are two different words. Strategy might be the big chunky rocks, and then the tactic is all the ways, all the priority action steps that will meet that objective. Or in our company, we call them objectives, and then priorities. They are the 20% that makes up success, especially when it comes to money and when it comes to business. So getting back to a question that we got from Kathy, I'm going to quickly read it out. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, what business you're in, this does concern you, because as we've been talking about for the last few months, life is never going back to what it was, and I think now is the perfect time. And in fact, I had this most amazing 1-hour interview just now with a beautiful lady in LA, Dr. Erin, Doctor of Divinity, where her whole mission is to impact 1 billion people and help them awaken to their inner guidance, their purpose, and living their truth. And we talk about money. She made her first $1 million, saving every dollar that she earned from renovating crappy apartments in her youth. She did it all herself, saved all of her money, and that's how she made her first $1 million. And she wouldn't recommend that now, of course. Not good for the nails, right? But she did it. And so we talk about this, how money is a very important component to our life. And so I want to get back to this now. And she talked a lot about soulful work as well. And it's so aligned with what we teach inside Millionairess here, that it doesn't have to be yucky. And, you know, it is our birthright to have money and be prosperous on the exterior, not just on the interior, if that is high on your values. So Kathy's question is this: hi there, Amanda. I know now more than ever I need to up my game getting my product out and into the marketplace. I've heard you suggest I need to be very comfortable with selling myself and my product. Yes, I believe my product is of great value and of very high standard. However, I still have trouble asking for the dollars. Now, ask yourself, do you have trouble asking for the dollars? I know it's worth it, especially though when competitors are appearing cheaper. Now, you always talk about soulful selling. Can you please explain what this means? So where am I going with this, Kathy? And I think every one of us at some stage in our journey on our entrepreneurial pathway has had weirdness around sales and asking for the money for our services or our products. Give me a sign if that is you and you can relate to this. As I was saying a moment ago, we need to get used to and very comfortable with serving, because life is never going back to what it was. No longer are there going to be the same amount of jobs that there were before, and people have to pivot, as my girlfriend Robin talks about all the time, and go, what's new for us? Right now, in the room I'm sitting in, we are building a whole brand new set. It's a film studio set, because we are going to live broadcast around the globe, because right now, we can't travel. We had planned to travel and do some more events this year, but we can't. So instead of trying to hold on to the past, right? And that's what happens when you get anxiety and fear-based emotions and depression, holding on to the fantasy of what the past is and wanting that for the future. That's where it all stems from. Comparison is going, well, it's not going to go back to what it was. How do we shift and evolve and do something different? And this is what we're doing now. And for the last 10 days, Melissa, myself, and Robin have been working hard here to create a new way of reaching the people that we want to reach through the Millionairess magazine and through the Millionairess movement. And so you've got to ask yourself the question, what are you doing to change direction? And here's the stats. 90% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. In fact, 50% within the first 2 years. So how do you not be in that 50% in the first 2 years that fail? Now, people aren't dumb, people aren't stupid, but here's the truth. So many entrepreneurs start up a company without the right, first, there's three things that they miss. They miss investing in themselves, into a mentor. They have no formula that is proven, no blueprint that is proven to follow with a mentor who has a result that they want leading them. And thirdly, they're not in the right mastermind. A true mastermind is a collective group of thought full of people that are heading towards the same outcome or the same chief aim or the same road, you might want to say. And so without these three vital things, this is the reason 90% of people fail in business. And the unfortunate thing is it doesn't have to be like that. And, this is one of the things that Robin and myself are so passionate about, I guess, within Millionairess, is showing people that you don't have to be in that 90% if you have the three things that you need. And one of those things, the 20% of the skill set that I talked about, the tactic and the strategy, comes down to sales and marketing. Most people in business, well, not most people, but a vast amount of people that go into business are usually they've come from a job or something like that where they were doing tactical work, hands-on work. They might have been a programmer or something like that. They might do a position in a role that they think, why am I working to get this person rich? I might as well go and start my own business. But they don't have the whole picture of the full entrepreneurship role that's the road ahead of them. And so the problem is they think that they can build a product or have a service and people will come to them because they're used to being hand-fed by the people that own the company that they've worked in. Okay. And so this is not to judge anyone, but it's to open up your mind and get you to think differently so that we don't fall into that 90%. Now, why am I saying this? Because I've been in that 90%. I have made so many mistakes along my own entrepreneurial pathway, and I wish I'd had known this. I thought I could just work it out. The truth is we can't work it out by ourselves. I don't know a single successful person in business or financially successful. I've never met a single person that's gone the road alone. And every single successful person I know is a master at sales and marketing. You must become masterful at sales and marketing. The truth is that it is the heartbeat of your business because no sales and marketing equals zero sales. And so when you've come from a job role or as an entrepreneur in another person's company and you go out into the world and start your own business, and you don't become masterful at these two things, then you're going to be sitting there and all you will hear is crickets. Now, this might sound a little bit harsh and you might go, geez, Amanda, you're a bit mean today. What's happening? I am a real educator. I am a real mentor, and I know what it's like to be in the trenches. And on this podcast, all you're going to get is real, raw, and relatable truth. And this is the truth. So the biggest issue is for entrepreneurs is that they fall in love with their product and their service. Now, that is why sales eludes them. That's why money eludes them and why they feel yucky about asking for the sale, because they're so hell-bent on their product, they have forgotten about the person. This is the thing. They're talking about their baby and they just want the whole world to fall in love with what they're offering. And I know that to be true because I have been there myself. And so what is the solution? I'm going to give you the solution. So I want you to write this down. If you've got your journal, which mine's on the bookshelf right now, make sure you've got your journal and you write this down. I call it the Millionairess Soulful Serving or Selling. What it's about is this: discovering your avatar's problems, their frustrations, their voids, and then, and only if it is a fit, offering your product or service as the solution. I hope you got that, because this is the whole underlying way of making that sale, and why I say sales or money and spirituality is one in the same. Spirituality to me means serving people, helping people solve problems, making people's lives better, enriching lives. And all you've got to find out is what their voids are, their frustrations, their problems, and ask yourself, does my product or service fill that void? That is soulful serving. If you have a product and you're just trying to ram it down anybody's throat or anybody who will listen to you, and I get lots of people saying to me, I've got this new product and I've got this new service, Amanda, will you take a look at it? And it tells me that they haven't done their homework. They don't know their avatar. And this is what you need to know. You need to know who your avatar is and what their values are. So this is vital what I'm saying here. If you don't understand the wants, the needs of the people that you want to serve with your product, again, you'll be eluded by the money. And once you get into bed sort of thing with your avatar, that's probably not the right word, but you get to know them, then you'll be thinking more about them, not yourself. And here's what I've discovered through sales is when you try and get into their shoes, or when you walk in their shoes or understand their day, what keeps them awake at night, it is more easier for you to take the focus off yourself and put the focus on them. And you need to ask them, what are their problems? What are the voids in your life? What is your biggest frustration? And then if your product or service does not fill the void, then you just keep moving on. So many entrepreneurs waste their time, their energy, their money until one day they get burnt out because they're chasing down the wrong crowd. We call it message to market mismatch. Please write that down. That is critical. We have lost or spent tens of thousands of dollars working that out. If you have a market to message mismatch, there will never be any money. And so sometimes you might have the best product and the best service, but your message is not getting to the right person. And you've got to ask yourself, how do you know that your message is actually hitting the right avatar? Do you know your avatar enough to get that message to the specific people that you want to speak to? And then focusing on them, not you, and asking yourself, how can I solve bigger problems? How can I serve more people? Because the money won't show up in the bank if you don't care about the people. Now, I'm not suggesting that any entrepreneur does not care about people. I believe that entrepreneurs start off on this journey for very different reasons. I myself, in my younger years, have started a business just to make money. I've even started a business to meet a guy who I did, Matthew, my husband. So I'm not here pointing the finger and judging anyone. I've done it myself, okay? We start businesses for so many different reasons. But here's what I've discovered as I've got more mature and I've been around for more than 30 years in business is that when you truly live the purpose that you've born to live, or you create a business based on wanting to serve people, wanting to solve problems, wanting to enrich lives, or help people elevate their lives, then everything changes for you. You don't feel like you're asking for something in return for getting nothing, or asking for some money without giving something. You understand then that it is a fair exchange of value. Because here's the truth about human beings, okay? People don't care how much you know about your product. They don't care about how much you know about your service. All they want to know is how much you care about them. Like, that is gold. Now, when you get that and then you're looking at your competitor who has a cheaper price, that tells me straight away that they don't understand sales and marketing. They don't understand human philosophy. They don't understand human behavior. When you get to the heart of the matter and you start to understand that people don't care about your product, they want to know if you can help them better their lives, offer them a brighter future, give them hope where they couldn't see hope. It completely changes it. And that's why the price doesn't matter. It is the service and the value that matters. I hope you are so getting this. This is soulful serving. It is coming from a different place, not a fear-based place. And, I was looking at Kathy's question there. I can feel a little bit of the fear around that because she's looking on the outside for the answers instead of going into your heart. Go inside and say to yourself, how can I serve more? How can I care more? How can I really get my message to the market that is waiting to hear my message? Because we all have a different message. And we all have our own unique way, our own unique gifts and talents that the world awaits. And so I don't see it as competition. This beautiful lady that I interviewed this morning, Dr. Erin, she's very, very spiritual. But we, in essence, teach exactly the same thing. Everything that I'm about to teach inside Millionairess and, start our TV show, our Millionairess TV show with Robin and myself and Mel helping us, we teach the same thing. It's the same formula, the mentor, the formula, and the blueprint, and then the community. They're the three things that we teach. But her way of teaching is so different than mine. She's much deeper in her spirituality. It doesn't mean she's any more spiritual than myself. We're just different teachers. We have a different voice. We have a different unique way. And so the message that I want to share with you is, so do you. You can't look at other people who have a similar product or service than you and think that they're competition. It is a global stage. Whether you're selling a product on eBay, Amazon, your own website, Shopify, it doesn't matter. It is the global stage and the universe expands. Your uniqueness is what you need to focus on so that the people that you want to reach are attracted to your uniqueness. That is the only question you need to be asking yourself. How am I unique? How am I authentically being different? How am I living my truth through my product and service? And then the people will come. Sitting there in fear, worrying about the other people is not the way to build a prosperous future. The money won't come and you'll always feel weird about the sale unless you get to the heart of the matter. Remember, we are human beings, and just because we're now moving more to the internet, more online, doesn't mean that we've lost that connection. And in fact, that's what I was talking about with Erin this morning. We have a beautiful connection through Zoom, for instance, and we can reach more people. So there are so many benefits, but as we both said, there is nothing like being in front of real people, soul-to-soul connection or heart-to-heart connection or communication and connection. I want you to write those two words down. Soulful serving or soulful selling comes down to communication and connection. If you want the dollars in the bank, and by God, you deserve the dollars in the bank, you know how I feel about that. You get, that's fair exchange of value. You want to be a multi-millionairess. Build an asset base so that one day or sooner than later, you become your money's master, never its servant again. This all comes down to communication and connecting with people. It's not about the freaking product, and that's one thing I've had to learn along the way. I've made that mistake. And so that's what I would say to you, Kathy, and all of you ladies listening to this, all of you entrepreneurs on this call today. We've just got to understand that we are dealing with people no matter what you are selling. You need to know how they feel. So you want to get to really know your market, how they feel, and you need to be able to empathize. Now, this is a really big word. Empathy means sales. Empathy means caring, asking questions. So I like to teach and I like to serve and soulful sell through questions. The whole half the Millionairess course that I've just created for entrepreneurial women is questions. Questions are the answers. And so you need to be able to empathize with the people that you are serving. I don't care if it's a microphone. You need to be able to empathize with their problems. Speak to them from a place like you know what keeps them awake at night. You know what frustrates them. You know that their microphone may not be giving the best recording that really doesn't make their podcast or their TV show or their internet-based business as professional and next level as it could be. However, you might have the solution, the perfect egg microphone that can really elevate somebody else's business. So this is why I'm saying you have to know your avatar. You have to know what would frustrate them, because here's the truth. With every sale, We buy based on emotion and justify it with logic. Without emotion, motion is pointless. So you might be trying to move them through a sales process, but if they're not feeling it emotionally, there is no sale. I really want you to get that. Sales comes down to one thing. You need to move people internally to get the purse pulled out and the money handed across. That's all there is to it. Understanding that you must be offering fair exchange of value. Okay, this is not trickery. This is not neuralistic programming. It's none of that. It is caring, serving people. Give me a sign, ladies, if you're getting this, if you're enjoying this, if you're getting some golden nuggets out of this. And when Robin and I start this TV show, Robin has so much gold within her around marketing and sales, media background that she will be able to share with you too, to help you elevate your entrepreneurial journey and elevate your marketing and sales as well, because that's what it's all about. Sometimes when people say, what business you're in? Really, I'm in the people business. I say I'm in the relationship business. I'm really in the marketing business. Understand, you are not in the widget business. You are not in this business of a product. You are in the marketing business. You've got to connect with people. We are still people. Just because you can't see us through the website doesn't mean we don't have feelings and emotions, okay? Good, this is good. They're liking it. I'll say one other thing too. Understand that your market that you are aiming for, so if you were selling these egg microphones, get it out, Amanda. If you're selling these egg microphones, you've got to understand that we all spend our money based on our highest values. And so you need to understand what your avatar's values are. Now, I'm not talking external values like being a good citizen, being kind to people. That's not what I'm talking about. What are the values? So one of my values is business and enterprise. And so if you're speaking to me about this egg microphone, you want to be speaking to me in terms of my values. What is going to get me to pull out my purse and hand over money for a $2,000 microphone when I can get on eBay and I can find one that looks pretty similar for $100? Do you get where I'm coming from? So this is why you need to know my underlying emotional problems to get me to spend $2,000 over $100. And if you understand human behavior and what makes us tick, what makes us pull our purses out or our wallets out, you'll never look at your customer and say, you'll never look at your competition, so-called competition, and think, oh God, they're cheaper than me. You won't even think that, because you'll know that your avatar's values will be in a line with the price that matches the outcome that they want to get. Can you see what I'm saying? Because your avatar will have certain standards, and so you'll need to meet those standards through your products and through your service and through your marketing message. Sales, in essence, is marketing. Without a sale, there is no business, and this is why 90% of businesses go broke. Honestly, I know I've been around long enough, and I know Robin would agree with me. And many of you intelligent women on this call, and guys, listen to this, you would agree there are so many businesses of the same type of businesses. Some go broke, some are massive successes. It is the person behind the front door. You are the business, and it's your thinking, it's your mindset that will either create massive success or a miserable failure. You cannot hope to go into business and be successful if you do not work on the invisible 80%. Your thoughts, your perceptions, your decisions, your actions, your languaging is vitally important to your success. To be a millionairess in the bank, we spend more time working on ourselves than we do in our business, because you will be taking yourself to the marketplace, and what you take to the marketplace reflects back at you. So if you're broke mentally, then your business is going to be broke, and then you'll attract broke people to your business who can't spend any money with you. Does that make sense? So this is why it's so critically important. It's not woo-woo. It's not fantasy. It is fact, and it's so vitally important. It is the key. Exactly, Robin. Let me share this with you. I know also that when you're servicing women as opposed to servicing men, a lot of women high on our values, we might have our children as very high on our values. So if your product or service is around something that has to do with children, women love health and well-being, beauty, travel, sports, books, social activities. They're often high on women's value lists, okay? Then you've got to align with what is important to this woman to get her to part with her money. Because your competition that's selling a similar microphone is not really a competition. You've got competition. That woman is thinking about all the other places that she could spend the money. Her children are important to her. Her health and beauty is important to her. Her fitness levels are important to her. Social activities are important to her. There are so many millions of messages out in the marketplace that is vying for her money right now. How are you going to get her to part with $2,000 for this egg microphone? You've got to really talk to her heart and soul, get her emotionally attached to this microphone to get her to part with $2,000, right? This is where I'm going with this. You've got to really understand their values and align your products with their values, if that makes sense. Guys, they have different values. Often they think more business, more financial goals, taking care of the family and all these types of things. And so you've got to ask and you've got to match your product with what is important to your guys if that's your avatar. So sales and marketing is quite a deep conversation. It's quite a deep subject. And if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, and I believe that you are, I think everyone's an entrepreneur if you think about it. We are all trying to get through life, in the easiest possible way that we can, always moving towards pleasure, getting away from pain. This is stuff that you need to be masterful in. And if you're in business or you're about to start a business and you haven't mastered emotions and understand people, then you're in for a very, very hard ride. I would honestly say, begin the journey, spending more time, not wishing it was easier, but wishing you were better as an entrepreneur. Now, I've got 3 big takeaways I'd love to share with you. If you girls can give me a couple of more moments, I'd love you to take away from what I shared today. And I really hope this is helping you, Kathy, and all of you that are worrying about money at the moment and asking for money. And don't make the mistake thinking that there's not enough money out there just because we're in a funny moment now, the global lockdown or whatever you want to call it. Man, the money hasn't gone anywhere. People are getting more money because the government is giving us more money to spend. There is money. It's just those that have the right message to market match that will get the money. And this is where you've got to grow and expand your knowledge. Knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is power only when you put it into progressive action steps and you start to know and learn skills around marketing and sales, the 20% that does matter as well as the 80%. But it all comes with you. If you have stinking thinking around money, you will never have money in the bank because your subconscious mind won't allow it. It will always deflect it and you won't feel worthy enough to have it, and therefore that won't show up in your life. So big takeaway number 1, write this down in your journal, beautiful people. Fall in love with those that you serve, not your fancy pants, product or service. Okay? Now, some people say to me, Amanda, why did you give up selling your fitness equipment on eBay? Why did you give up selling health and beauty products on the internet? Why? I had a business selling pet products. My love of products wanes in comparison to my love of people. I just got to a different stage in my life and I listened to my inner guidance. I know what my calling is. I am doing what I'm meant to be doing. Yours will be different than mine. It doesn't matter if it's a physical product or a service through something you'll love. You must fall in love with the people, not the product. Unless you get that, money will always run away from you. It is a soul-filled life when you get that and you care more about the people. How can you fix more problems? How can you make somebody smile today? How can you change somebody's life today? Okay? When you serve these people, don't push a product or service down their neck. First, seek to discover, and then only if you have a solution that matches do you go ahead with the sales process. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time. Okay, that's what I would say about that. Big takeaway number 2. I hope you're writing this down. Selling is caring. Okay, it is so true. Selling is caring. If you don't care about people, you have no business being in business. I would say that if I was looking at you right now and I'm looking at my beautiful millionairesses inside my community, I am looking at you in the eye. If you don't care about people, you have no business being in business, and you will probably lose all of the money that you put in. You will lose your mind, and you should go away and just do something else. Don't be in business unless you truly internally care for people. You will never have the money show up that you think you will have unless you have the ability to understand people and want to understand people. And you must care enough to understand their needs over your needs. You know, if you're desperate for money, if you're going into business to sell widgets just for the money, you know, and I know people do make money just selling widgets with no care factor at all. But I also have met many people who have businesses that they do for the sake of business or the sake of money, and they do not live a soul-filled life. I really want you to think about that. Waking up every morning, wanting to get out of bed, can't wait to get out of bed, where you've turned your vocation into your vacation. It is a different level of living. And I call it elevating your self-worth, elevates your net worth, and truly elevates your life worth. That's what I'm talking about. When you truly love what you're doing, that is soul-filled work through soulful service. That's why I don't have any problem with money. And I don't have any problem with asking for fair exchange of value, especially if I know it's going to change somebody's life in a dramatic way. Will this change my life with this egg microphone change my life in a dramatic way? Possibly. If it elevates my business, elevates the amount of people who enjoy listening to my podcast, for instance, if it's easier to listen to a podcast with better sound, absolutely, I would be interested in that. Big takeaway number 3. Sorry, girls, I'm getting ahead of myself. Getting closer to a rampage. I'm trying to keep it calm today, Amanda. Big takeaway number 3. It's been a big morning. If you master the art of soulful serving, in other words, if you fall in love with people, not your product, you will never have to fear your competition undercutting your price, because there will not be competition. There is no such thing as competition. Focus on your own race. Get behind the wheel of your own ship. Be the captaineress of your own destiny. Okay, forget everyone else, run your own race, and just keep your eye on the prize. The prize being, the more people you serve, the more lives you change, the money will be a byproduct. Okay, so when I'm speaking, for instance, on stage, I'm not thinking about the money I'm about to make. I'm thinking about the lives I'm about to change. If you can just flip it like that, the money will come, because people can tell if you just want the sale. But if you really care and they feel that you care, that's the emotion, they will pull out their purse and not even think twice about it. That's what I would say. That's the big takeaway number 3. And remember, never ever undercut your prices, slash your prices. Always try and value add. Unless there is a very good reason that you might want to lower your price, there might be a very good reason. If there's not a very good reason, always value add. It tells a lot about who you are as a business person, as a marketer, and how much you care about people. People want to buy. Know this. As human beings, we love buying things. We can't wait. Has anyone ever had the experience you've got money in your hands and it's burning a hole in your pocket? You can't wait to get the purse out and spend. You know, when we're feeling like there's something missing, that's why they call it shop therapy. I'm going shopping today. I need some therapy. We love to buy. But here's what I do know. We love to buy from people who care about us, people who care about filling our voids. And so don't think that there's no money. Don't think we're in hard times and the money's disappeared. There is ample amount of money People are just waiting for you to get out there and serve them. So ladies, I really hope that helped today. And remember, with motion without emotion renders no soulful serving and no sales. That's the quote that I would end with. I'll say it one more time. Motion without emotion renders no soulful serving and no sale. You must get to the underlying emotion before the sale will happen. And so that is the podcast today of how to turn the fear of selling into soulful serving and money in the bank. The money will come. And I know it to be true because it's been my experience for many, many years. And I hope you got gold out of that. So good to see so many of you on here today. I really appreciate it. I was chatting to Robin a couple of moments before this podcast began, and she said, you've got to share some exciting news. And I really feel that it should be Robin's news, except that I've got the voice here right now, and this is for Robin, and I just really want to acknowledge Robin. You all know we are launching our new Millionairess magazine, and it's going to be launched around about the 13th of May, and the beautiful Lisa Vanderpump, who is not just a Hollywood housewife, but she's an incredible entrepreneur and philanthropist. She is gracing the first cover of the Millionairess magazine, and for the past 6 weeks, we have been really trying so hard to get a particular lady to grace the cover of the second Millionairess magazine that will be launching in June, the middle of June. So we're going to have one each month. And that particular lady who had a massive impact on my life with her husband is Kim Kiyosaki. Her brand is Rich Woman, and she is a perfect alignment with the brand Millionairess because she stands for everything that we stand for. Teaching people about financial abundance and financial independence and even financial freedom. And in fact, it was the very first book that Matthew and I read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which started our whole journey on our pathway to wanting to become free in our life. In other words, having our money eventually work for us instead of us needing to work for money. And that book literally changed our lives when we were younger, much younger, 30 years ago or something. And, or not quite 30 years ago, 23 years ago. And then many years later, we got to meet Kim Kiyosaki and Robert at an event where we were speaking on the same stage, and we told them the story of how the book changed our life. And they were so thrilled. And Robin has been reaching out to Kim Kiyosaki for the past 4 or 5 weeks, and she just hasn't gotten back to us. And so finally yesterday, she rings me up. I'm out shopping with, somebody's sending me Skype, bugger off. Sorry, I've got to turn this Skype off. She says, well, you wouldn't believe it, Kim Kiyosaki has accepted our invitation to grace the second cover of Millionairess magazine. And so I'm so happy, but really the accolade goes to you, Robin Gipters, because honestly, you just didn't give up. She said, don't worry, Amanda, we are going to have Kim Kiyosaki grace the cover of Millionairess. And I think Kim is actually really excited to grace the cover. And I will be interviewing Kim next week, I think it's next week, is it? For the cover of our second Millionairess magazine. And so, I'm so excited. So I've got to try and keep myself calm in that one. And so I just wanted to give Robin a big shout out. Congratulations. I know it was a massive one for you, and it is going to be so awesome for the Millionairess movement. Really, this is not about me. It's not about us. It is about enriching lives for generations to come. 100 million women in the next 100 years. And in fact, I think that number will expand to even greater numbers now that we are starting a TV show here. And it is just, really, really a pivotal moment in our entrepreneurial journey, I think. And I just wanted to share that with you. Ladies literally just found out, and you ladies are the first to know. And you can see I'm excited. So Thank you, Robin, and I'm so honoured to be on this journey with you. My sister Carmel, who's been at my side since day one for the past 5 years, and Mel Coates, who is beside us, getting this message to millions of women. You know, my beautiful friend around the corner, Amanda Fife, who is always so encouraging, and all of you beautiful ladies in here, Michelle Matthews, who sent me the most beautiful testimonial yesterday. I really just appreciate all of you. Bernie, all of you in here. Julie, an integral part. Karen, thank you so much. I hope I haven't missed anyone. There's more of you in here that I can see. Kazi, an integral part of the Millionairess movement, because as you women grow and expand your consciousness and living your own authentic truth, you impact so many other people out there, and it truly creates the butterfly effect. And so, yeah, I just want to take a moment to thank you so very much. And anyway, now I am rambling, aren't I? I've got to get off this camera. Now, Melissa Coates, if you had that hook, you could get me around the neck like Lamsey and pull me off the stage. Anyway, ladies, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. I truly hope you took gold, and thank you for allowing me to share my wisdom and my love of serving with each of you. And this journey is about to get even bigger and brighter for each and every one of us. You have a fabulous weekend. And if you have any questions around soulful selling, soulful serving, anything I shared today, pop a comment in and what you learnt from it, your aha moments, and of course share this podcast with anyone and everyone that you know would greatly benefit from the mission and the vision that we have for enriching lives for generations to come. That's enough for me today. I love each of you. Hugs and kisses. For those of you who don't know me, don't worry, I haven't lost the plot. I always send my beautiful ladies cyber hugs and kisses, and I look forward to seeing you inside in just a moment in the Millionairess community. And thank you for joining us. Mwah. Bye for now. Thank you again for joining me on today's podcast. And again, thank you, Kathy, for sending in your questions. So many of us will benefit from, especially if you're about to jump on the pathway of being an entrepreneur. As I'm sure you'd agree, plenty of life golden nuggets and lessons in today's podcast that if you implement could literally change your financial destiny and move you to the top 10% of businesses that become successful, and possibly in the 1% of people who become financially independent or even financially free. As always, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and until next week, appreciate you tuning in to the G'day Gorgeous podcast that's dedicated to turning entrepreneurial women into a millionairess from the inside out, enriching lives for generations to come. And before we go, please, I'd be super grateful if you'd share this podcast with your friends, family, others that you know would greatly benefit, especially if they're on the entrepreneurial pathway. Lastly, to find out more about my Millionairess mentoring for entrepreneurial women, please pop over and visit us at g'daygorgeous.com or click the link in the notes below. And until next week, as always, be bold, be courageous, and even more fabulous. Bye for now.